No. Got it. Shit. All right. Oops. All right. We are directed to, oops, I've blown it. Whoa, it's the illusion. Done. Redirected to YouTube. Done. All right. Looks like we're on. Let's go to my channel. Hello, everybody. I think we're here. I don't know. Just bear with me, man. I accidentally hit the wrong button, and what's with those pants, dude? What's with those pants, man?
What do you mean? Oh, I had him pulled up because I was just
What, you were digging for clams, dude?
No, I was making my prayer, man. I had to wash my feet in the sink, so I pull my pants up so I can wash my feet. It's a Muslim thing, you don't understand.
It's
and if they look like they're a little bit tight, is because I put on like 25 pounds in the past month, which is very shameful.
You couldn't.
So they're looking more tighter than normally. It's what?
You couldn't have. Wait, hold on. I got all sorts of issues going on. Wait 1 sec.
Are you like bagging on me live, dude?
Pretty much, dude. But it's
fine.
All good. I just want to make sure I'm not.
That's fine.
I hit all the wrong buttons. Give me 1 second. We are live. It looks like, but I hit the button prematurely. It's one of those kind of days, dude. Well, we're back riding the skaterix, episode number 27, dude. Save.
Wow.
All right. Yeah, dude. Well, we have been on a let's see. Let me see if this is actually like playing, dude. Let's see if we're actually
on a hiatus.
Bit of a life has been hiatusing. There we go, dude. Let's see. Let me just check in. We got Free as a Bird, Glenn Davis, Gunler, dude, with his popcorn, Larry, Pam, Jason Allen. How is the sound, everybody? We're a little sloppy, I have to admit. Do we have split screen? No, we don't. All right. Let me see if I can I'm running it off my iPhone, so I don't quite know how to do that.
You're looking kind of solid. Let me do a cross check on my side for
let me see if I don't know how to get split screen on this, which is, let's see. Dude, this is so confusing, man. Let me see, dude. How do we get split screen? That's not, we like split screen. That's what we're about, dude. Hold on. Screen on this. Oh, feedback. I hear me. All right. Close. Dude, I apologize, everyone, for the technical difficulties. Probably let me see. We used to go through my laptop, but I found that it works better through my iPhone. Gets us a better signal, but I don't know how to do this, dude. Shoot. I don't want to be in safe driving mode. I don't know why it won't do it. Settings. Oh, that was me. Why won't it? Anyone got any tips out there?
What are you trying to do?
It's the iPhone. I put my I'm
You're doing
doing
the whole stream from your iPhone?
mhm. Normally I do it through my laptop and it goes into split screen, but I don't know where the function is on the iPhone app version of it all.
And are
Do
you
you
running
know
it through
where?
YouTube?
Yeah, we're
Only?
on YouTube. We're live on YouTube right now. You're much clearer than me. That's what I'll tell you. That is weird. Like, because I'm watching it on YouTube. You're clearer than me, but all of this is coming through my phone, dude. Like, I don't know. I don't understand how that's possible.
Okay, well let me send you this video real quick.
What are you sending me?
And watch a YouTube video or listen to music on YouTube at the same time.
Well, it's 1 second. Let me just see if this is.
You can't. I don't have the bandwidth, dude.
That's okay.
While referring to your favorite news app. You could even log in.
Yeah, we like split screen though, dude. I don't like the flipping screens back and forth. It's not.
Everyone,
I like us head to head,
to
dude.
do that, let's just minimize these windows and then we can resize them. That way you guys can see both.
Sorry, let me mute it. Hold.
It's got to be a simple button, man. It's a go, dude. Whatever. We weren't gonna do a long stream tonight, dude. I got my ass thoroughly kicked by a small 7-year-old child today, dude.
Yo, hold on, dog. I'm about to get it right here. You know what I'm saying?
Are you about to get it, dog? Are you about to get it, dude? You're about to get woke, bro. You need, dude. Where is your rainbow flag, dude? I can't operate with someone without a rainbow flag. You don't have a Ukrainian flag you can put up in the background, dude? Or
I have a.
First thing we need to do is
I'll grab it in a
the
minute.
Windows
Just 1 second.
applications running that we want to split the screen with.
George, hang on to everybody. We're gonna dial this in, dude. And so yeah. So I was Jordan and I, the skaterix is back. We're doing a little dad check-in. We're trying to decide where we're gonna go. We're thinking about getting another channel and going kind of hardcore, dude. Hard in the paint about some of this stuff, dude. Yeah, I know it's a bit. I know, Gunler. It's like a football game. It's a little weird, dude. It's a little. So we had yesterday up here and the Kern River Valley, we had our 4th of July show, dude. We did 4th of July. We had the fireworks show up here last night, dude. So we're done. We did 4th of July's over up in the Kern River Valley. We did it yesterday, dude. It was rad.
Are you?
Good show. I'd say good show. Good show last night.
Can I ask you a question? Can I ask you something?
I'm not coming out tonight, dude. Yeah, you can ask me something, bro.
Are you there? No.
I'm there. I'm here. Are you there?
Okay. I'm here. So is there any way that you can take your, are you connected to Zoom?
Yeah. We're doing this.
So,
that's how do you think doing this?
Yeah. Okay. So what's the meeting? Hold on.
We got this far. Dude, let me get it off that, dog.
Okay.
Oh. Ah, dude. Did you grow
When you wear a mask,
yourself?
it's even way better, bro.
Dude. I went, they were masked up at the Bonds up here yesterday, dude. I was like kind of horrified. I didn't know what to make of it.
So,
like,
can you hold any? Can you go into settings in Zoom?
Wait, hold on. Let me see if I can do that. That could be catastrophe. Let me go to Zoom. All right. Okay. No, I'm right back here. I don't think I can get the settings right.
Well, you should be able to go to settings and then you should be able to.
I don't think I can get into. I don't think I can get into settings and be live at this and
Why don't we
be
just restart it
zooming at
then?
this.
Why don't we just restart it?
Oh, dude, it's fine. It's totally fine. No one cares that much, dude.
Okay.
It's just I will work on. So if I was to go into settings, that's right, right. In my send me the time code on the video stamp and we'll do it. I think
No worries.
I think anyway, so to answer your, so you missed my funny part, dude. You went and you missed it.
I was focused on trying to troubleshoot, man. I really wanted to just be side by side
but
with you.
then you said, can I ask you a question? And then I said, I'm not prepared to come out tonight.
Gotcha. Well, I think the month is over, right? So you don't need to come out anymore.
Isn't it? I heard, isn't this MAGA month or something, dude? Isn't it orange tarted month, dude? Something like that.
It's hard to keep up. I think there's a holiday for every day of the year. My wife's like, man, mothers only get one day. They got LGBTQ got 30.
I know. How is that, dude? The
30 days of fun-filled propaganda.
You know what
Good.
Did you see that the G's are pushing back heavily on the alphabet, dude? They've like started a whole thing, dude. I'm telling you that the G's are about to like blow this whole thing out of the water, dude. Did you see the new thing that Wiener's putting up on the new bill? Wiener's trying to get going.
Wiener. No.
What's up? Do you see the new thing he's doing?
He's gonna be dead probably in about 3 years of something.
So, well, 3 years he can. I don't know how this guy's.
He'll do some
so
damage, but go ahead. What is it?
So his new thing they're trying to do is say that California is a sanctuary for anyone from any other state who wants to transition. And then the other thing is they're trying to pass new legislation. They just signed in the streetwalker thing tonight for the streetwalkers. So that's now legal in California to streetwalk. But the new thing they're trying to do is
diversify your ways of earning nowadays, man.
Well, also you should see the clip. He's doing this thing where they want to keep the bars open till 4 a.m. in the 6 big cities in California to improve nightlife culture.
Oh.
And he's with two alphabets.
Oh yeah. Oh, he's taking it in every hole, I'm sure.
Well, again, is for like the thing that this is openly promoting alcohol and drug abuse, and I don't know how whatever happened to Mothers Against Drunk Driving, dude. Whatever happened to them, dude? Did they get like what happened to them? Like, I mean, like with all seriousness, like.
Well, that was I look at those organizations those were like Fed co-opted organizations. I don't think that they're like real. I mean, they did stuff.
I think Mothers Against Drug Driving. I'm super for. I think Mothers Against Drug Driving should make. My take on drinking and driving.
I'm just saying. I don't know when their legitimacy ran out. I would say probably like pre 9/11. I don't know. I
Yeah,
haven't
it's
heard
about
that.
the last time
Huh?
yeah, it's about the last time I remember hearing from them. But they were powerful, man. What I guess what I'm getting at is Wiener trying to pass legislation to keep the bars open to 4 a.m. just seems like a recipe to get people killed on the roads, man. Like, that's insane, dude. But whatever, dude. I don't drive around a lot.
It seems like I don't know enough about it to speak on it, but it's definitely like it looks like America is being we're being broken apart. Obviously, I think that's super clear, but that I think that the stage has been set for like more fragmentation from state to state. So it's gonna like every state's gonna kind of be like a country soon.
Yeah. I don't know, dude. I'm skeptical about all of it right now. I tend to think that I don't, you know what's weird? So I went and did like I said, we did up here last night. They did the big fireworks thing. They did it last night, Saturday night, right? So it was essentially 4th of July up here last night. And I'll tell you what, man. The amount of people out, like, so I'm on the back side of the lake. And so like I drove to like the road that looks across the lake, and it was actually pretty rad, but there were no shortage of people. And I'll tell you what, man, everybody was in pretty good spirits, man. It was a super, super, like one of the more positive 4th of July vibes I've had in a long time, in a weird way. It was super subdued, but super positive too. Like I like it kind of renewed my like American spirit, if you will, dude. It was very interesting.
Sorry.
What?
No, nothing.
What?
Nothing. Nothing. I know I don't feel that, but it's fine. I mean, I'm laughing because there's not either what you're saying is really like you're really truly feeling that, or you're like being super like satire right now. I couldn't tell.
No, I like
no. I know like, I know you're serious, but I'm in the okay. This is why I'm laughing. Okay. To consider where I live, you know, my locale. I live in the Bay Area, so it's by far the gayest place on earth. And besides Ed Templeton's lap, as you said earlier. So,
oh, dude, that was a behind the. That was but I'll totally.
I'm all about being upfront nowadays, bro. I mean, you gotta get.
You gotta own it, dude. You can't.
This is getting awkward now. So, are you a top or are you a bottom? I mean, that's the question. I don't know, man. But yeah, I feel you. Where you're at, I would say it's quite possible to feel that a lot easier than where I'm at. The American spirit, that is. So,
but I'll tell you, dude, but it wasn't the Gadsden flags and big trucks. Like literally, like the people right next to me was a dude who looked like he worked like a highway worker, and his like either son or friend, and they had like one dude had a Filipino wife and another dude had an English like a black girl with like an England accent, like an English accent, wrapped in like like the most American outfit you could have ever, like flags and a red dress, and like we're on the side of the road out in the middle of nowhere, dude.
What is this? Is this like fireworks going off?
Yeah. Like we did our thing last night.
Early, okay.
Yeah, I don't know why, but that they did it early. But like that's what I'm saying is like it wasn't the redneck underbelly. It was like the rego vibe, dude. Like rego, like people cranking, you know, Neil Diamond and stuff, dude. America. Bone. What's the Neil Diamond song?
Coming
dude?
to
like
Coming to America or something.
Coming to America. Yeah, they were cranking that. It was rad, dude. I was all into it.
That was like, that reminds me of like, that's like every little, that reminds me of like eating bagels in Miami, like as a little Jewish boy. That was like, Neil Diamond was like our claim to fame. Neil Diamond, he's a wonderful, wonderful man. Beautiful music. Yeah, I just picture right now like being Fila gear, eating bagels and playing tennis. My parents with the same, you have a similar Neil Diamond haircut actually right now. Like Neil Diamond had a haircut similar to the way you have.
Me.
Yeah. You kind of have a Neil Diamond going right now.
I got my John Levy comb over, dude. No, it's a very interesting. So what I thought, which was apropos or symbolic of it all, like the big announcement up here was this would be the last 4th of July show up here, according to the Chamber of Commerce, which puts it on. They're like, it's super expensive and we don't want to, we'd rather spend the money on other things. We voted. So this is the last 4th of July show we're putting on. So there might not be one up here next year, which I thought was interesting. And it was funny because my wife, it was like 9 o'clock when the show started. She's like, I don't want to go. And
it seems to be go ahead. Sorry about that. Go ahead.
Well, no, it was funny because she was her classic like catching up to the whole thing is. So I was like, don't you want to come to the show? It's going to be the last one in the Kern River Valley, dude. And she turns to me and she's like, according to you, it's going to be the last one in America at all. And I go, touche. Like, I don't think we get another one, dude, personally. I don't think there's another 4th of July in the
I was thinking this, which is really weird, this feeling I had, like kind of ominous feeling. My wife, she told me today too, she's like, I feel strange today. Doesn't today feel like a strange day? And I said, there's sort of this weird like anxiety in the air and I couldn't put my finger on it, but I feel like that too, but there's like there's this CERN is going to be turned back on the 5th.
Nice.
And,
nice. I figured we were due.
Yeah, so CERN is going to be turned back on now. Some people are like, this is what could happen is that the aliens and the big spaceship could come and that could like happen and like eradicate, that could be the Independence Day everyone's waiting for. I think it is, it's a what's the word? It's metaphor. It's like the doomsday is, or the 4th of July not coming back might just be a metaphor for like some kind of big change of some sort, but I don't think that we're going to get visited by aliens unless it's blue beam. I don't know, man.
Well,
but CERN opening CERN getting turned back on is pretty interesting.
I think there's a lot of interesting things going right. I think this week is a good week for Calamity on the 5th. I think that's a good day on Tuesday. Tuesday, I think, is a good day. Tuesdays are usually good days for calamities. But where I've been tripping out was like, for me, for all intents and purposes, like the 4th of July happened yesterday, which I thought was weird. And it seemed to be like I was looking on the gram And there seemed to be a lot of that kind of a vibe of like, it was yesterday. And I'm like, dude, it's the second. Like, it's not, this isn't the 4th of July. For me personally, I don't understand why they had their 4th of July fireworks show on the 2nd, but I get it because it's sort of a vacation zone where people would be returning back home after the weekend. So I get why they did it up here on the 2nd, but still, as a dude who rates 4th of July as my preferred holiday of the year, like it's my holiday or my day, I do feel weird about having watched the fireworks show on the 2nd of July. I have to admit, and to me, it seems very symbolic of the weird, because I was watching getting a bunch of feeds from other places. Like, you know, I'm all signed up to like community newsletters and stuff, like from city councils. And the general vibe was pretty like, we're not having a fireworks show and there's no permits and nothing and don't do anything. And I was like 4th of July, I for my entire life spend like the go-to holiday, dude. Like I've always been a huge 4th of Julyer, dude. This is the first 4th of July where I'm like, I did it already. I
haven't felt the 4th of July spirit in a very, very, very long time, since I was probably like a kid. But I always was a fireworks chaser. You know, I always liked to watch, but I think it's been like years since I felt any value in 4th of July. But so I don't know.
Tomorrow I'll get on my live stream and read the Declaration of Independence and do the whole thing, dude. No, I'm a big like, for me, like it used to be when I was younger, it was chaos night, dude. Down in Malibu and the stuff, it was like madness. And I get my American flag cape on and take acid and get crazy, dude. And then as I progressed in life, it became more about the Declaration of Independence. And this is the thing, have you read the Declaration of Independence not as a document for a nation or a community, but as a personal document? Like a personal, read the Declaration as if you were writing it to the beastly system. And it's a very potent document from a person. If you view it as your personal document, it's very powerful. So I'm viewing this 4th of July more as a personal sovereignty exhibition or exploration, as opposed to the nation. Like I did you see the video clip of the 100-year-old Marine guy, dude? That was pretty gnarly, dude.
You know what's interesting is that the first line.
No, I don't. You didn't answer about the 100-year-old Marine, dude. Did you see the 100-year-old?
I'm sorry, I just brain fraudulented. Flagellanted. The 100-year-old Marine.
The 100-year-old Marine, who made a statement about how bummed he was on what's going on in America, dude. It's pretty gnarly, dude. It's all over Instagram. It's like 2 minutes long. Just check it out, because it's pretty epic. His one opening thing is when I go outside my house and I see the green grass and the flowers, it's a good day, it's beautiful, and you should be stoked, and people don't know what they got, and the whole thing. And then he just gets to this point where he starts crying, and he's like, the opportunity's gone. God, there was so much opportunity, and what has happened? And then he's like, oh, I don't really care, I'm gonna die anyhow. So but he got his grandkids or something were filming it. It was pretty gnarly. It was pretty tight. And he's in his Marines outfit with his medals. He probably charged the beaches of Iwo Jima or something, and got crazy back in for the freedom, dude. It's just like I think we've moved so far from like, I don't know. Anyway, dude.
Yeah, I mean, I just try to hold on to what I know is true, you know, and that's unmovable. And, you know, all these things, whether it's the Declaration of Independence or law in, you know, in America or any of these things. I mean, I don't know, man. It's all it seems to be I find it to be a little bit more manageable and copable to hold on to those things that I know that are true and immutable, like the laws of God and my creator. And I'm not, I mean, I'm not dooming and glooming over here, but I think this is like the time where like the individual sovereignty, that's always going to be there and intact. And that's something that we have to exercise. But there's something to be said about like you know, in the Matrix, this is a hokey analogy, I know, but I'm going somewhere with it. So in the Matrix where Neo becomes like, you ever seen the Matrix?
Oh yeah, dude.
Okay. So it was
Yes,
a good
sir.
movie before we found out about Keanu Reeves, right? But before
It's still a good movie, even knowing about Keanu Reeves.
well, and also not just that, but the Wachowski brothers, and then became the Wachowski sisters and all that. So it's still a good movie, but you know the reality of
In
of
fact,
how
I'll argue the Wachowski sisters doing their thing adds credibility to the Matrix, dude.
totally. Well, they were the there's a big Kabbalistic truth drop in what they did, because they went and transitioned from 1999 over to 2000. They started their transitioning. So it was a whole like thing for sure, transhumanist movement. Point being is that this whole thing where he's like, he becomes, you know, the agents are there and they're shooting at him, and he learns to sort of live with this reality, right? That these agents are there, and he becomes sort of immune, you know, because he starts to believe in who he is, I guess. And I would say when we start to believe in who God is, in the sense that rightfully so, of like what God can protect us from and can guard us from everything, I think that we can get on really anywhere. And we've been fine so far. I just I don't know where I'm going with this, but I'm thinking like, man, I can get all bummed about a lot of things, but at the end of the day, things are in God's hands, and I think everything's going to work itself out in the way that God wants it to.
Yeah, I'm my thing that this is where I'm at with all of it. Like none of it bums me out because it is all in God's hands. But I still go back to like an AP history in high school. What was that? I was in AP history in my junior year of high school. So it must have been 86, 85, something like that. And I remember the teacher being like, one day America's gonna like fade, dude. And I remember being so tripped out by that statement back then. And it always stood out to me. And here we are. It's like there's no way for it. Eventually it has to go the way of all of them, dude. And where I find the whole thing to be like hopeful is I don't see the bad trip in the people, man. I tend to see like people are pretty positive.
Yeah, no, and I agree. I think I learned something today about the second. I think my mind has been super like kind of thinking about today, because I was listening to this talk. I don't know if you've heard about a YouTube channel called Blogging Theology. Anyways, it's an interesting channel. And they were
That is
talking
way too deep.
Huh? What?
I said that's way too deep for me, man.
Yeah, well, I was talking about the secular project, that secular. So America, why I was like, I kind of look at the country called America very differently now the way than I used to, and I look at
Sure.
every country differently, and I look at it as a secular project, and I don't really like see it anything more than that. What I do see though is the people, they make the country beautiful, and obviously we find value in the people here, not in the secular project. And I just I that's it. I mean, things are moving so fast and things are changing, and I don't, it's just like I don't know, it's so it's weird. I find it to be kind of troubling, but at the same time, like, kind of don't, it is what it is. It's
Well, that's when you got to bounce in and out of the two realms, right? Like there's the higher spiritual realm, and then there's this lower terrestrial realm, right? Like on the higher spiritual realm, like this is all just a dog and pony show, dude. Like there's nothing really going on down here except your attempt to decide to make one decision and one decision only. Do you want to spend eternity with God, dude? Do you love God enough to spend eternity with God, right? Or are you so fixated in this lower dimensional realm that you'll sacrifice that to get into the mix down here, right? And then there's the other reality of like, well, you're down here, and so you got to mix it up to truly like explore what that everlasting eternal love with God is about, right? And which is the whole game. So like you gotta be in the game, right? Like you can't sit on the sidelines, or you're ultimately kind of denying the mission from God, which is the denial of God's love. It's a weird like duality, right? And my one trip I got about America, and I've spent a lot of time thinking about what is it, and what the Constitution and the Bill of Rights and the Declaration and Magna Carta and all these documents are about. And my take on America is this. I think the controllers said, let's just give them let's give them full clearance to run the interference. Let's give them let's see what they can do. Let's give them the documents. Let's let them have it. Let's give them a continent. Let's give them manifest debt. Let's see what these people can do with it. Let's give them full access to God, full access to legal, full access to land, resources, full access to all of it. Let's not get in the way of it. And I think what the beastly controllers were hedging their bet is that these people will absolutely beg to be put back on the feudal estate in X number of generations. And those that don't want to be put back on the state, they're not really a threat to us, dude. They're on their mission with God, and that's fine. They have zero threat. But I think the American experiment has proven the truth of humanity. They want a dirty, filthy, totalitarian planet run by oligarchs and corporations. They don't want God. They don't want to spend eternity with God, and God will give them everything, and they will still look underneath it for a shiny silver coin, dude, and think that that's more valuable than Eden. And that to me is like, I get sad about it on one level. Like I don't look at the American flag the way I did once upon a time in my apple pie mind, but I don't look at it with disdain either. I look at it as a symbol of the choice I got to make as a free human being. As a free human being, I got to choose God. And I got to answer for my defects of character. I got to fully experiment with drugs and debauchery and bad vibes and all of that stuff. For me personally, like that's what I get back to. If you read the Declaration of Independence as a personal document representing only you and change King George into the Satan, the beastly system, whatever you want. I think that you find that document, if you apply it to your own experience here, is very cogent for what it is that we as God-loving human beings are about. Like if you read that and apply that as just a personal document that you would give, just to cross out a couple words to get it clear that it's a first person experiential document from me to whoever. I think that America or freedom or whatever you want to call it lives within my heart and within my actions and within what I do. And for that, to me, like, rah, rah, baby.
No, I hear you. And I like, for me, again, I find it in my locality and the people, and not in the promise, I guess, of government. But can I read something to you?
Yeah, absolutely.
You
wait,
might know,
before you do,
yeah.
Before you do, just talk for a second. I need to get a power cord. I got my 10% warning. Let me just get power so I don't drop on you.
Yeah, there's this bit from this book by Edward Bernays called Propaganda. And it's not that I deny the value of the Declaration of Independence, because there's definitely like a lot of good that can come out of that document, and a lot of good has come out of it. But reading this, you'll come to understand like the kind of what's the kind of the hidden hand, and it makes you rethink some of these documents, like, and it makes you also wonder like how much planning went into the American secular project, which is, Novus Ordo Seclorum, the New World Order, as we are
absolutely
in right now.
This
so this is a book. This is the book by Edward Bernays, Propaganda. And there's a
okay.
But this is fascinating. What is, you probably heard this quoted before. It's not that long. It's like almost a little bit more than a half a page. This is organizing chaos. It says that the conscious and intelligent manipulation of the organized habits and opinions of the masses is an important element in a democratic society. Those who manipulate this unseen mechanism of society constitute an invisible government, which is the true ruling power of our country. We are governed, our minds are molded, our tastes are formed, our ideas suggested, largely by men we have never heard of. This is a logical result of the way in which our democratic society is organized. Vast numbers of human beings must cooperate in this manner if they are to live together as a smooth functioning society. Our invisible governors are, in many cases, unaware of the identity of their fellow members of the inner cabinet. They govern us by their qualities of natural leadership, their ability to supply needed ideas, and by their key position in the social structure. Whatever attitude one chooses towards this condition, it remains a fact that in almost every act of our daily lives, whether in the sphere of politics or business, in our social conduct or our ethical thinking, we are dominated by the relatively small number of persons, a trifling fraction of our 120 million from that time. So it just like, that's kind of where I've been pondering about, like when I think about, especially like, cause it's like the spirit of 4th of July and Independence Day. I was thinking kind of like where we've arrived in the past 2.5 years, how we've been molded, our tastes have been formed, and how we've all been manipulated by this sort of hidden government. And a way to escape that reality is to do what you did, is to change your environment, is to move out away, or at least to act upon the access to freedom. And I think it's because I'm still here, like in the yoke of it in the Bay Area, still very much more in like an urban setting. I'm feeling myself to getting very agitated nowadays, but that's what I need to do in order to move myself and my family forward, So I'm not doom and gloom, but I'm not happy-go-lucky either. I've just got like a balanced like aggression right now towards what, how I need to respond to what's going on. Because I think it's very insulting and ridiculing what they're doing and what they continue to be doing. And I just think that in a lot of ways, yeah, it might be like the white knight thing. And there, I'm sure that's had some truth to it. That still doesn't take away the fact that, there's some really weird stuff going at hyperspeed every day that we see and we talk about, and, just getting us to higher ground. That's all. I'm about that with my family right now, just trying to, kind of map out the next stages, but, I'm blabbing. Sorry.
No. I mean, I think that's the struggle of two dads trying to stay in contact with God and be parents and deal with this world gone crazy. I mean, I don't, look, as well as I do, like, as much as you want to talk about, like, not you, I mean, just the proverbial you want to talk about, like, outside of the house or society or all of these things, like the rubber meets the road inside of the house, right? Like, it is a struggle, as even a person who's fully, I would say, relatively conscious, relatively in contact with God, relatively focused on that thing, constantly still struggling to, like, keep just my hula hoop aligned to the higher calling, right? And even though I'm removed from all the weirdness and the freak show and the whole thing, like, me and my wife got into a crazy fight the other day, dude. Like, forget about Eastern Europe and Putin and the weirdos with the flags and Orange Man and gas prices and all of that nonsense. At the end of the day, like, World War 54 was in our living room about ultimately confusion and fear about caring about and loving our 7-year-old child, right? Like, we weren't even at war about anything negative. It was just us struggling to understand what our small child was experiencing with all of the new information he's receiving and his own picking up of the signal, right? Like like, so when I get to it, it's like you're not far removed. Like we're all in it because it's being bombarded electromagnetically in all aspects of the thing. Like Al and I went to the supermarket yesterday and they had all the masks, all the workers had the masks back on, right? He's tripping out on that. Like, you know, so it's this thing of where it ends and where I begin, right? Like how much of it is just the folly of one human being's just flopping in the mud of this reality versus the organized chaos of secret controllers and a rubric of weird programming and multi-generational plots to like they're not the ones causing me to get all like uptight on my old lady. Like that's me just being a dick, dude. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I can sit there for a split second and try to cop out on it and be like, oh, I was trying to like get the garden going because you know the food's gonna run out or whatever. Blah, 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 blah. But when I really sit and honestly look at the dude staring back at me in the mirror, it's me being a dick. And like I can't blame the world for that. I can't blame Edward Bernays and the secret cabal of string-wearing weirdos and keto network freaks broadcasting shitty movies. Like that's a dude living on a farm without watching any of it removed from it. Still's like, nah.
No, I agree.
You know what I mean,
I
bro?
agree. And I agree. I think what I'm contending with is the same thing you're contending with. And a lot of it is like, you know, there's something about I'm trying to bring my family to a place where our children are able to be raised. They're growing up in an environment where they can, you know, live their full potential in the most healthiest way. And I think where I'm at is like, I'm concerned because it's natural to be concerned, obviously, as a parent, but I'm doubly concerned because I don't see the environment here. I mean, it's conducive because of our religious community and that works, but it's just like, there's just things like in the house, you know, there's YouTube, there's TV, there's toys, there's a lot of little things that are sort of like that we as parents sort of get lazy on or buy into.
Sure.
That we need to sort of, you know, kind of tighten up, you know, those things before we can. So I could, in other words, and I'll close with this, is I could think about moving to the country, or I can think about, you know, whatever, some high ideas, but I need to start with what I can right now in the house, in getting control of what I know is within my grasp, like setting up like a, you know, we don't even have like a computer schedule. Like sometimes it's not my son will be on the computer sometimes he skates a lot and he's active, but sometimes he'll be on the computer for like a few hours, which is like, to me, that's pretty gnarly, you know? So just, that's where I guess for me, I'm just like, how do you, I know how you do it, but getting the discipline and consistency to do it, that's what it comes down to. It's just doing it. So
well, that's what I'm kind of getting at, is like we talked earlier in the week about, like, you know, we're both like trying to get us working to help each other get our mornings rolling on a more focused game plan. And like, it's hard, dude. So the irony was this morning, today, and I didn't call because I was busy doing it. Like we got up this morning, all of us went and sat outside and like watched the sunrise and did the whole thing and went and made breakfast. And today was like the biggest disaster of all time, dude. Like it started with everything that we had talked about earlier in the week and went sideways. And it's like this residual. That's where I can like, well, when you read that Bernays and stuff, that I hear it is more as like the residual, like the amount of time it takes you to cleanse from the residual fallout of the toxicity of it all. Like I think for a moment where I was a little naive getting up here I was like, all right, we're up here, dude. We're bing, dink, dink, dink. And it's like, I went outward first versus like focusing on like the internal first. Like I went busy, like I got to get everything set up on the land when I should have been more focused inside and detoxing from all of it, right? Which is, sleep and diet and all of these things that are we're so much more in control of, but it's like, I got to get ready for the thing. And it's like, I neglected my own personal like responsibility to like myself. I didn't put the oxygen mask on myself. And because I didn't put the oxygen mask on myself, I was busy trying to put the oxygen mask on the lifeboat. And because I didn't put it on myself, I didn't put it on my passengers either. Like, it's just like, it's a big reset right now, like, because at the end of the day, yeah, all that stuff's valid too. But if I don't live by this, if I don't live by the light of God, I die by the sword of vengeance or something, If that
Yeah,
makes
I mean,
any sense.
it goes back to like when the heart is sound, then every part of the body becomes sound, and we have to I find myself as I get older, the irony of it all is that like you're constantly going back to the basics. Like that you think that it becomes, some people have this vision of like things become more complex as you get older, and things actually become like super simple, but the things that get complex are the responsibilities and the diverse responsibilities and the bills and the business ventures and the people and the contacts and the things you gotta, all the things that are tugging at your shirt, but you gotta like still operate from a very basic principles. Like, yeah, I know what you mean though, like kind of how's a day can like start really beautiful and then things just kind of go awry. I mean, and that's what the devil does. Is the devil, kind of doesn't like that families are united and families are, in our tradition, the devil, there's a comes in Islam and a tradition that the devil has his throne over the ocean, and every night he calls all his workers, all of the other devils that are underneath him, and they go out and they say that he takes a report, about how that he led, how his followers led people astray today. Well, what did you guys do? How did you do? And they come and they sort of summarize, today I made someone steal from someone. Today I made someone shoot another person. And then one of them comes up and says, oh, master, today I made a husband and wife divorce. And he says, come close to me, come close to me. And he gives him and he embraces him. And he says, you're my man. You're the one. You did a very good job. And so when I read about Bernays and I look at what's going on today and I look at my family, like that's, I guess, at the end of the day, like what I feel I'm up against. And if you sense like trepidation, if you sense me like being like, it's not doom and gloom. I get these things ironically motivate me. And I'll get off this call and I'll be like, okay, I gotta like change something, you know, and that's what we need to do. We need to sort of reinvigorate ourselves. But we're up against, this is a spiritual battle, you know, and we say that, and people say that all the time, like, but if we look at our life and see, like, are we really living in a way that reflects a true spiritual warrior that's fighting a spiritual battle, or are we just like talking? And you know, it's just like, what are you doing? You know, not you, the proverbial, like you said, the proverbial you. So just, that's all.
Well, no, I think that is why it's important for us to check in. It's like, I think people misinterpret like analyzing where the like, I'm a firm believer of like you have a spare tire on in a car so that when you get a flat, you have one, right? And every now and then you got to go in there and make sure your spare tire's like in good shape, right? Like you got to make sure it's got air in it and the whole thing. Test it like that. It's a spare tire in there. And I think that's sort of where there's a naivete right now that we're up against in the outside of ourselves is checking in with yourself and taking a good look at where you're drifting or you're not fulfilling it's viewed as Chicken Little or doom and gloom or whatever it is. And I go, I'm right there with you. It's like me getting like talking to a fellow father and a fellow brother and God about like, yeah, it has not been. I
get that. I get that a lot. I mean, for years, I remember when I would come, that's why there's certain people I could never be friends with, because I am very analytical of myself. Number one, I'm always thinking about what I do. What did I say? Why did I say that to that person? Why did I do that to why did I yell at my kid today? Like whatever. And it's that reflective self, it pours out into everything else. So yeah, when we're talking about like, it's definitely not doom and gloom. It's, you know, when real like people are under attack, they call all of the leaders of the town to meet, and they start saying all the things that might sound like doom and gloom, but what they're doing is they're strategizing. They're exhausting all the possible things that can go wrong. And they are waiting, based off being hypercritical on the situation. They're waiting for someone in the group to come up with a good idea. And I think that when we commiserate as dads, we're just spitballing for good ideas. But I mean, if we were doom and glooming, we'd be smoking crack, selling our bodies in the Castro district. You know,
it's legal
because it's legal.
Dude, if we were doom and gloom, dude, I would be winning skate contests right now. I would be.
And I would be a banker, and I would be a banker in the Federal Reserve.
Look, man, no, it's that thing of like, it's that thing of like being able to self-reflect with enough personal truth to be like, I don't want, if I were to pretend that I don't make these mistakes, I'm allowing myself to make them again. Right.
Yes.
Like that's what I guess I learned on my journey of sobriety. Is like, yeah, you get to blow it, but when you've come and asked God, like, for, as a sober guy, right? When I begged God for help up there on top of that mountain, 13, 14 years ago, when I begged God for help, God sent help. God sent two dudes in front of a liquor store and all, just this whole life I've experienced ever since. Right. And I have a responsibility to myself, to God, and to that request to constantly check in with myself and assure that because I don't know if I get to ask again, right? And I'm not willing to bet that I do. And so if I were to pretend, it's no big deal. Whatever, dude. It's just a fight with your old lady. Like, whatever. Everybody does it. I go, no, it's not. That's not what got me here. What got me here was being willing to be like, that you're blowing it, dude. Doesn't mean that like life sucks or it's game over. It's just like, dude, time to get back in the game. You ran a bad play, you got sacked, you got, I don't know, whatever sports analogy sports people need to hear. It's like, get back on the board and ride and revert it this time.
Yeah, okay. You gotta. I realize now that might actually be the cheat code for everything, is just to revert it. So
revert it, dude. Just revert, Matt. Revert. And so, well,
when you revert, don't you want to, like, I heard that when you revert, a lot of people, when they revert, they want to revert back again. Has anyone
revert back?
So they revert and then they want to like double revert back. So
Did you see the first level of class? We were talking about class action suits the other night. Did you see that there's some class action suits going on right now with some of the transitioners who are reverting, claiming like, dude, I got played. Like, no one filled me in on what was really going on, dude. Like, there's a bunch of people that have ridden out the timeline now that are old enough, and they're like, wait a minute, dude, this was, I got caught up in some nonsense, and people were being financed to convince them to do these things. Like,
I'm more convinced on something. I got to be really careful on what I say on your channel, but I promise I won't say anything that's going to throw you off. But I think, you ever seen the picture of the Baphomet? You know the Baphomet, right?
Yeah.
The Thrasher really likes it because it's cute, it's cool, it's got boobs, and it's hardcore. It's obviously, that the Baphomet is like that's the representation of the end. That's androgyny, that's the ideal balance between man and woman, right? Not in reality, but I mean, according to those people. I think that what I'm starting to realize is that you had a long project, and I've heard even some Christians say this. I've heard my brother-in-law's teacher, who's a Muslim scholar, say this, is that the injections are they're encouraging this sort of androgynous reaction in the body, because they're really wanting to create a situation where if you could have a critical mass of androgynous people, or whatever you want to call gender fluid people, then there's some sort of thing that happens, like where they believe that that's going to bring about some, one of the end times prophecies, which is the Messiah, because the Messiah himself is, one could argue that he's androgynous as well. So it's sort of like building up that momentum to receive that reality. I know, a little deep, but there's something there, I think, that's quite legitimate when you see how these
it's all laid out. It's all laid out in the Marilyn Manson album, dude. But seriously.
Okay.
Like
I wouldn't, I know, that sounds totally reasonable. Yeah. But you follow you picking up what I'm putting down, or are you?
Oh no! If you listen to Mechanical Animals, it's fully laid out. Everything that you just said is laid out in all of its thing. And it was, again, is where I think that people sell it short is, and again, it's what you were reading about Edward Bernays is, there is no conspiracy. They have been broadcasting the signal for our entire lives of exactly what is coming down the pipes.
Totally.
And again, is that's where I see the trick of the thing is the best place to hide something's in plain sight, right? And so I do tend to think that where we have to constantly check in with ourselves is that awareness not to let these things slide by, because you can get all concerned about the decoys, like there's no reason to get all concerned about what happened in one September day once upon a time. There's no reason to get all like concerned about dudes with funny mustaches or things that happened in jail cells without cameras or in weird islands in the Caribbean. None of these things really matter, because at the end of the day, like it's all you checking in with the understanding that it isn't a mystery. It has been laid out before you. So when you look at all these things, you don't need to uncover like some big mystery. It is literally just another confirmation on the truth that this is all being manipulated and played to get you to abandon your soul for no other reason than because you just don't want to keep doing the work, dude. Like, I think
you
that's
want to
kind
just
of
win you just want to win a little girls contest,
or you just want
to win a skate contest.
Like I'll give it. Who's doing a lot of real good work about all this stuff is you sent me that. Anyone out there listening, the new Neil Kramer is quite. Let me see if I can spam it in the thing. The new Neil Kramer Romecast is phenomenal because it gets into it. But I also give a lot of credit to like Pockets of the Future has been doing a lot of good work about this stuff. So's Crow 777. A lot of people are like seeing this. The quantum of consciousness has been doing a lot of work on this whole thing. Is it's not to ignore the obvious and pretend that it isn't happening, but it's to be able to know that you don't need to like uncover the mystery. There's no point in uncovering the mystery. There's only one thing is are you willing to go home to God for eternity, or do you want to not? And that's all you got to ask yourself. Do you want to be with God forever, or do you want to be toiling in some hell or whatever it may be, which is the opposite? And that is obviously right here, right now. That's what I was kind of getting at. Like that's the thing you were talking about with the divorce and the thing and the battling with your wife and the yelling at the kids. And the thing is like, you can go taste what life looks like without God at any given moment, dude. Like, what would life be without like the eternal love of God? And then every time you go take it, you haven't tasted it. You have an opportunity to circle back and go, God, I don't want that. What do I need to do now? And God's going to be like, you need to do more work, man. You need to do more work with yourself. You need to like plug in, dude. Like, what are you doing? And, so yeah, I got the link for the Roamcast coming up right now,
man. Dude. It's interesting, like the material that we're created from, a sperm drop, it's a sticky fluid. So, there's a part of us that's, because we're from that, we're constantly sort of sticking. We have a habit of sticking and clinging to the earth, holding on to things, like we're always holding on to money or holding on to things that are not really good for us. And the soul wants us, or the soul is desiring of food, but the food for the soul is not from this world. That's what's interesting. Like, there's nothing in this world that can fill. There's no material thing in this world that could actually fill that void of the soul. When the void is there, there's no material thing that can give a person real peace. And so that's why, like, I think more than ever, people seem to be turning. I don't want to say more than ever, but it does seem like there's quite a lot of people that are starting to search harder or seek God more, which I think is a positive thing coming out of.
I've heard a lot of people, and I saw something recently, and be like, there's never been a more potent time for the search of God than right now. I mean, you can get into those great revivals that happened in the 1800s and all that kind of stuff, but those, like, even though those were hugely expansive in North America at the time, like the number of people on this planet right this very second actively seeking a relationship with God, I think arguably could be the greatest percentage of human beings in the history of humanity, if you buy into the timeline and the history, right? I don't, but what I'm saying is, I think that I run into more people saying God bless you now than I ever have before. And it's not casual. It is like a real, like, God bless you. And like, you get what I'm saying? It's not people talking because I sneezed. It's like people really like, and I found that like again, I find the power of what we do as a Muslim and a Christian to talk about this as two dads is there are people seeking God all over right now. And I think one of the beauties of it is the failing of the system. I think that the freak show and the weird flag waving and the crazy laws and the debauchery actually has done more to get people to look towards God than ever before, because it was easy to ignore God when you could go listen to the Eagles out at Ontario Speedway at California Jam, or go, do all these things that you could do in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. Like, life was simple, dude. And now it's like No, dude, the devil has put up his billboard and there's no denying it anymore. Remember when they used to do the thing with like 10 years ago with the dudes would be like with magazines and be like, look at all the hidden pornography in the magazine covers and stuff, right?
Mhm.
You don't need to do that anymore. It's in your face. It's on Disney. It's in every movie. It's all over the place. And more people are horrified by that than ever before because that's not subliminal anymore. It's in your face. And people have to actively like choose right now. You don't get to go flip on. You don't get to go and flip on a movie or a show right now and be like, oh, I don't know, it's hidden in the background. It's like, dude, it's right here now. And I think they've overreached on the whole thing. But I think you have to let go of the old paradigm in order to get to the new paradigm. Like that kind of goes back to what we first started talking about with the America thing. I think if you think of America as 50 states and some geographic region versus a personal experience, you've missed the whole point of what it is, dude. It has to start with you. America has to be, or whatever the concept of it is, call it just a word, a placeholder word for a grander idea. But whatever that is has to come from within you first, or because that's why this has all failed. Like it's just a bunch of people, bumper stickers claiming that, but they don't actually have it in their heart. Like it's like the preacher that's doing meth and fondling people in the background. Like, well, that's not God.
So someone said an interesting thing today. It's a little bit off topic, but it's sort of relevant. They were saying that because there's an argument, right, where like many of like our, especially my skateboard friends, like, or you always hear people say this comment of like, religion has caused so much pain in the world, or religion, like that's been the argument with all the whole like Roe versus Wade thing, where it's the religious fanatics that want this. They want to take away our rights, my body, my choice. Yada. And what's interesting, some person made a comment today about it. They're saying that what they said was just straight, like right on, is they said that this is like a lie, straight up like inaccuracy to say that religion is responsible for all these things. Like, secularism has been just as guilty, if not more, of pain in the world, and so it's just interesting, like the whole, like, I guess there is on one hand a lot of people that are waking up, and one could argue, or maybe it is like the white knights are sort of doing all this ridiculousness just to get all the, to kind of flush out all to flush out all the degenerates, just to get them out in the open, to expose them, so that like we know where everyone is at, and then sort of, I don't know, let's see where the wind takes them after that. But it's interesting, it's like, there's no I'm right there. There's nobody's hiding anymore, dude. Yeah. Like, right off the bat. Now like, who's who for sure. Like I get messages every now and then from friends like, dude, you're right. You were right, man. It's like, from what I said 2.5 years ago, but it wasn't something, doesn't make me smart. It's just like you or anyone else that has like used their basic discernment and their God-given mind. We just didn't let other people think for us. But this was a really basic, easy thing to figure out if you had possession of your own mind and heart. But if you left your mind and heart over to the government or over to the establishment of some sort, then yeah, you either never woke up or you woke up a little later. But yeah, it's all out in the open now, and it's quite beautiful, at least because we can kind of plan a lot easier, at least around that. We know who's who.
Well, to me, I think it kind of goes back to something for me, like as a person, I think religion is the one of the great con jobs of God, of anti-God, right? Religion to me seems to be one of the things that have kept more people away from God than anything else on the planet. And I think religion's the same as the same thing that people that get in line to receive their sacrament from Pfizer is the same people that go march off into some meat grinder in Eastern Europe. Like, that's one word that I don't subscribe to, because as a Christian, I don't subscribe to religion. I subscribe to God. And for me,
that's interesting. That's interesting you mentioned that. That was another point of discussion today of this maybe I'll send it to you. It was a really deep conversation, but that was the argument, is like that right there, what you just mentioned, is that many people, they're sort of disenchanted with this idea of religion. And he said a lot of that, he said that's been historically, that was more of a Christian thing because of the evangelical and the Protestant sort of breakup, the split. Because you had, like, I guess the evangelicals, they became more of like this the more secular sort of state aligned. Muslims are going through that right now. We're at the beginning of that, but up until now, that was never an issue for us. So like, but that a lot of the sort of the misconception, or not misconception, the bad taste that people have in their mouth, not namely because of Christianity itself, but more of the church and these different denominations that sort of went with the very sort of secularized, these are the guys that were like, telling everyone to get the injection and telling everyone to align themselves with Israel. And then those who didn't.
You saw I don't know if you saw any of this stuff, but if you get down into religion, and I got to keep it kind of vague. So the big decision of the R versus the W that came down, I've argued that, and we've talked about this, but I've argued that that's really, it was never about the divine spark, that it's really about control. And if you look at who the 6 justices are that went and supported the overturning of R versus W, which is all about medical privacy at the end of the day, you'll realize that they all have a religious ideology. They are very religious in what they say, but they happen to share the same religion of the people that co-signed the dude with the funny mustache in the 40s in Europe. And most people want to blame what happened over in Europe to the dude with the funny mustache on political extremism. But what really happened, if you dig into it, is it got co-signed by the church. The church sat back and said, it's okay for you to do what you want as the state, as long as you leave us alone. And they were silent while all that stuff went on. And I'm real wary of religion, the churches, the institutions that claim to represent various religions, if you will, of all different faiths and varieties, because they all seem to be beholden to the state, from what I can tell. And I think that is, like, as a person, I'm real wary about that, because as from a Christian perspective, the church absolutely failed the congregation the last couple of years. They closed their doors. They bought into the state mandates. They enforced the state's realities, and they got in with the corporate institutions. And I know that we had talked a lot over the last couple of years about you experiencing the same thing from your institutional, reality of the religion that you participate as a faith in, right? I'm just being very wordy for these reasons, you know why. And so I see that once again, people aren't paying attention. People are so busy celebrating what's going on versus the R versus W in the sense of religion versus spirituality. Because if you look at that decision in the sense of spirituality, it sold us all out and didn't protect the divine spark. And nobody seems to be, only a couple people are really aware of it that I see going on right now, like that are broadcasting bigger messages. But
Yeah,
unfortunately,
I look, I mean, keep it, there's like the basic, so right now in our community, there's definitely a split that's happening right now where I can tell you, because I'm seeing it, that it's slow, but it's happening. And what's happening is that scholarship that are sincere are drawing lines now with the woke, like the scholars and the woke Muslim sort of activist types are now sort of like having a sort of standoff. And there's pockets of real scholarship that's like, this is where we draw the line. And what this discussion is now is that like, you have to be able to, I mean, a lot of people say this very stupid statement. They're like, well, if I say this, then I'm going to get canceled. I'm meaning that I'm not going to be able to feed my family. And it's reaching a point now, or at least it should reach a point now, where people need to like, that's the problem with these state-run institutions, is that they feed their families from the institutionalized religion. And I think that the smart religious leader realizes those that are there, there's not a lot of them, but those, they do exist in every religion. They're realizing they need to get their own way of earning, and then they can be free to say something. That is happening now, but there's like that standoff. In other words, you have to be willing and ready to get canceled if you really want to be on the side of truth nowadays. If you are not willing to get canceled, huh? What?
On that, my thing about this is it's, there's like where I on that a little bit where I go is if you're going to get canceled, what are you going to get canceled for, right? Like I've noticed from my own perspective of like, for me, that ain't the thing to get canceled for. I think it's a trap. And the one thing where, you know what we're talking about with we've talked extensively about it, and we're going to make our things about it. But that's why I'm like, it looks more like a trap.
Let me, I think that there's ways to state the truth where when you become canceled, you find your people. Look, the people who are going to cancel you are not going to be, they're not going to be with you anyways. So all I'm saying is I'm definitely not talking about social suicide or going out and making people hate you. But there is a point where you get to a point where the truth, it's unavoidable. You have to state it. And it becomes like a moral imperative. That's where we're at now. And we've been here, but now we're here in 360 degrees. We're here with the mandates. We're here with the, whatever, the whole injection thing. And we're here with the gender thing. We're here with the R and W thing. So we're getting it from all sides. All I'm saying is it's not any one thing. It's just being willing
Sure,
to say what's right when it matters most. That's
No,
all.
no, I know. I'm with you on the whole. What I'm more getting at is I do think there's an aspect of it being a low hanging fruit that's easily there to get us trapped into this lower argument. Meanwhile, the bigger machine spins, right?
Yeah.
For example,
I mean, totally. Yeah.
like, all right, as a person who's pretty secure in themselves and all that, like, I don't live in fear of it's. I can take it from the alcoholic perspective. I don't live in fear of a bar. I don't live in fear of people with bags of cocaine. I don't live in fear of someone drinking in front of me or doing drugs in front of me or any of that stuff, right? Because, like, I understand that I am an alcoholic and I am susceptible to all these things. So I take the necessary actions and understanding of self to be able to operate in a world and understand that it's my responsibility to take care of myself and it's not the other person's responsibility. So, and this is where, like, I think we agree a lot is, like, we both operate our children from that perspective, right? Like, it's not up to us to go and but we do have an obligation to protect other children, which is why we're aiming to do what we're doing. My concern about a lot of these things is if it's Edward Bernays, right? And a lot of this is organized and planned. They've accounted for this and tried to get us to come step out on the ledge about this and expend our ammo on that so that we don't have any ammo for the real beast, if you will. And that's kind of what I've been watching with the R versus W thing, right? They've got everybody claiming this is about the divine spark, right? It's not about not one person in the conservative side of it all is truly about the life, because they haven't done anything. You could have easily put that issue to bed in the last, since the 70s, by building up community, right? By empowering men, by empowering family, by making people's lives more valuable. But the same people that claim that they are there to defend these lives are the same people that have been backing these political parties that have been destroying these communities at the same time and they're both in on it. So when I see them battling about this thing, I go, you guys are both full of it. Meanwhile, they've all been tricked into allowing the court to give away our medical privacy to the lower state, which can be easily controlled by the corporations again. And that's more what I see all these people like celebrating and fighting about something and going, dude, you guys aren't really actually like even in the arena about like living beings, because we could have put that whole thing to bed by elevating the experience of the living. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I look at it more as I look at that issue more as a social community problem than a legal problem. The laws don't mean anything when it comes to that, dude. People are going to do what people do. Yeah. I look at it more as like, if you want to ensure the value of those divine sparks, then you have to ensure the value of those that are here now. because the reason that the people are throwing away those divine sparks is because they don't have value in themselves.
Yeah.
And I can speak to a person who's been through the whole gauntlet of this in my reality. When I became a father, I had done the work on myself and valued myself as a human being to the point of there was no doubt about the beauty and the value of the divine spark entering my care and custody, essentially, dude, where I was like, all right, man, like it's game on. And it's a gnarly job, dude. It's gnarly, dude, being a steward of another human being, dude. But I see this thing of like, we haven't done anything to take care of those that are walking around right now and said, hey, your life's valuable, dude. So when I hear people talking about this thing, I go, well, we're not making people that are walking around lives valuable. So this is BS.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit more on the other side about that whole thing as an adamantly like supporting of the divine spark guy. You know what I mean? But I go, you can't have one without the other.
Yeah, I'd say my wife texted me as well, but I it's interesting because I think it's I'd say this lastly is that it comes down to, if you really, this is the kind of the world we live in now, is that we do live in a world where there is a lot of people that have departed from God, or they become atheists or extreme in their secularism, that when you don't have a love and a connection with God, even if you don't have like a little, I mean, everyone has that little light in them. If they could just, if they're willing, God will ignite it and guide them if they just showed a little bit of effort on their side. But I think that that's the dilemma, is that we're dealing with a very, very we're dealing with major darkness of like atheism and just
Yes.
people that are just completely believe, when someone says my body, my choice, I mean, that's the greatest lie, because it's not your body. Your body's been given to you by God. It's God's body, and it's not your choice, because God can take.
The point I'm trying to make about that is that's coming from the perspective of someone who has God in their life, and we're not showing people God in our lives to convince them that they need God in their life. That's more what I'm trying to say, is the proof that we don't actually facilitate God in this society is all around us, right? So the church, for example, hasn't done their duty to change the paradigm, because they're not improving the lives. They're not doing exactly that. You're talking about people that don't believe in it because they haven't been shown that it's true. So we're not having a conversation on an equal. You and I, as two fathers who understand this, it's like, right? When you're talking about some 17-year-old kid who's grown up in some beat down, trash strewn, fatherless community where the church is nothing but a money gathering, fleecing organization looking for their 501c3, who's really at fault there? Is it the kid? Or is it all the other people that have co-signed to allow this to occur to this kid and said to that kid, your life is not valuable? And that's what the argument I'm making is, if we truly want to believe in this thing of the divine reality, then we have to give it to those that are living to have them have value in their own life. Because it's, I know this, you know this, but how do we show it to some young person when we just they've been abandoned by their fathers, their education system, the state uses them as a money-making machine, the politicians use them as voting leverage, and there is this living human being on spaceship Earth, this beautiful creation of God, and we as a society have abandoned them to this shit heap reality. And then we got the nerve to go, they need to understand about God and protect this living being, but we know about God and we're not protecting them, and they're alive. That's kind of what I'm getting at.
No,
like,
well, you know, it's interesting because this is actually, if anyone wants to know what Jesus did, that's exactly what he did. And that's what all the prophets did, is they took in the dregs of society, the people that no one wanted. And they sat with them, they ate with them, they fed them, they advised them, they counseled them, and they became their well-wishers. And they fell in love with the prophet or the messenger, and then ultimately fell in love with God. Because that was the whole mission of all the prophets, was to work on the hearts and to make people, you know, to serve people so that they could ultimately, you know, serve God. And I agree with you. I think that this judgmental sort of damning view that we take as people who are so-called, you know, trying to be, you know, God-fearing people, or trying, you know, rightfully so, trying to do what's right, but it can be misplaced and it can definitely backfire.
Well, it kind of goes to what I guess the point I was trying to make is it goes to this thing I was talking about, like with the controlled thing. For what, since the 70s, since what, 72, that body of people that claim that they were supporting the divine spark have put their energy into a broken legal system to get the work done, instead of this actual other thing that's allowed this thing to take control. And we can see it now, because like now it's like the one group's like making like, oh dude, we got to fight back on this, we got to make money. It's like both of these groups have turned over their authority to the state. And nobody seems to see that what happened in this decision wasn't about the divine spark in this thing. What happened was everybody just got turned over to the state last week. Everybody did. While the day before that, everybody was sort of protected, and people were doing what they were doing. But the group that was supposed to go save these lives had spent 30 years fighting to undo the one thing that we kind of had protected, which was our medical freedom, because it's not constitutionally protected. Like, that's the thing. They just undid all of our medical freedoms because that's the one thing that's not constitutionally protected. You can argue it's what, the Fourth Amendment, our personal effects, but that ain't going to stand up, dude. And if it was really about life, the people that claim they were all about these lives have spent their ammo fighting to get a system to overturn every single living United States citizen's medical protection in one fell swoop, dude. Like, it was the greatest con job ever, and they took 3 generations to do. 3 generations it took. That's the long game. That's the Edward Bernays stuff you're talking about. Like the con job. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, man.
And but that's where I go back to the thing of like, read the Declaration of Independence as a personal document, and then you're free. Because then you get to do what you get to do with God and your children and your sovereignty and your health and your whole thing. Once you realize that it's you, it's not the state. You're like, dude, why are you bumming me out, man?
You're getting a little too deep for me, bro. I gotta go. Cause I'm just thinking about not getting hit with a pan. I'm scared of my wife.
Exactly. You should be, dude. We all should be. A happy wife.
I love you,
life,
bro.
my brother. I love you.
Yeah.
I love you, Jordan. Man, you're a good man, a good father, and a good husband. I appreciate you.
You too. You're an amazing person, brother. I value our talks. I value our relationship. And you know, let's keep it going. Maybe we'll check in tomorrow.
Yeah, let's meet up next week. Like, we let it go too long. Like, I think that the one thing we did was like think that it's not important for us to check in. And I think that people do get a value out of it. Whether we come across as kooks and lunatics, I don't care.
That's so fine with me.
It's fine with me too. All right, my brother, we'll talk this week. And then for those of you guys out there in YouTube land, we'll be back next weekend.
All right. Later, brother. Later, guys.
God bless.